And the part that no one warns you about is the quiet. You did the hard work. You let go of the version running on borrowed expectations. You stopped apologizing for the shift. Then you looked up. The room was smaller. Some people had drifted away quietly. Others left in a way that stung. You told yourself, that's just the cost of growth. But late at night, there's this quiet inventory, a scan of who's no longer there. Underneath the clarity, you wonder if your new version is enough. If there is enough to gather around. We're deep into season 8 now. We're walking the tender ground of a real shift. This is the moment you realize the room thinned. The old identity has something to say about that. I sat with this a few years back. I had just come through a real shift. I stopped chasing a version of success that wasn't even mine. For the first time, I felt settled. But I kept checking the contact list. I checked the circles that had gone quiet. Told myself I was just being thoughtful. What it really was? An audit. The old identity was running a quiet audit of my social proof. It was coming up short. The old identity measured its legitimacy by the size of the room, by how many people needed it to exist. When the room thinned out, that old identity read it as a verdict. It saw confirmation that the new me was lacking. It took me a long time to see this clearly. This is the old identity using the departed as leverage. It's really just a quiet manipulation against the new you. The old identity is patient. When the room gets quiet, it will whisper and tell you that you were more when you were that. Notice if something in you just nodded. The belief underneath the audit is all about worth. It asks if your identity is legitimate without consensus. The people who left, they were calibrated to a finished version of you. When you stop auditing the room, something shifts inside you. You stop tallying missing names. You begin actually hearing the people who stayed. And you notice the quality instead of calculating quantity. You can mentally stop explaining the shift to the people who left. That conversation's expensive. When it stops, you get your energy back. I became less monitored after the shift. I stopped needing the room to tell me my worth. I started showing up for the people still in it. Those people who stayed recognized you after the shift. That is a rarer crowd. One question to carry with you today. Who in your life has seen the new version of you and stayed? And have you let them be enough? Sit with that one. If today landed, you've been running that audit. You're probably just calling it something else. The no-cost identity clarity call, that's the place to trace it back. We'll look at what the old identity uses to keep its grip. It's time to start measuring yourself by something truer. You'll find a link in the show notes. On the next episode, we open the final chapter of Season 8. It starts with a trap most people don't see coming. You try to sustain the new identity the same way you earned the old one. In your performance, looking for proof. That one, it's worth waiting for. The room will hold you. Let it. With strength and heart, I'm Sean Michael. Stay close. We spend a lot of time on this show talking about the threshold, the space between the identity that got you here and the one required for the new ground. You're listening to this because something in your current architecture is fracturing. You're running the performer playbook or the striver protocol, and it's costing you an immense amount of energy to maintain the facade. The external results are there, but the internal friction, it's burning you out. Most people will let this episode end and go right back into the performance. They'll put the mask back on for their next Zoom meeting and keep relying on the identity that's actively caging them. I'm looking for the leader who's done performing. If you're ready to look at the structural identity collapse happening beneath the surface, we need to map your architecture. Go to the link in the show notes, book your identity clarity call. We'll identify the exact survival identity running your calendar and begin the shift into conscious leadership. Stop performing, start becoming.